I was saying this is the website that we are going to design throughout this introduction to HTML, CSS, and hopefully JavaScript. So as you can see, it's a very beautiful landing page, and we have like 1, 2, 3 sections, I think. Oh yeah, 3 sections. We have what we call a header. We have our let's call it hero section for now. We will explain later what a hero section is. And we have our service sections with these beautiful cards. So this is what we'll be designing throughout the course, right? And in the previous session, I hope you guys started this already. I don't know which stage you guys are, but and what's the understanding you guys have, because I've seen this code base, and the facilitator from the previous lesson told me that this is here's where you guys were. So we are trying to actually continue from there and see what we can achieve for today. But let's be active and let's practice, because we are actually behind what was planned. So let's be active, let's participate, let's practice so that we can move faster. And if you have a question, you can either text it on the chat so that we can move faster, or just open your mic and ask the question. Raise your hand first and then ask your question, right? So go back to code and see what code base we do have right now. So I can see we have, first of all, our roots folder. So our roots folder is called One Loop. It's basically the name of the project we are working on, right? So this beautiful landing page is called One Loop. We would call it like the website is called, or this company is called One Loop, right? So we will create a folder. I hope you all created folders in the previous lesson. And inside that folder, we'll create another folder called images, where we will store all the images that we'll be using inside the project, inside the web page. Okay. And inside our main I mean our root folder, we create 2 files. For instance, we have index.html and we have styles.what.css. So let's see what's already. I can see the basic structure of an HTML page, right? We have everything that you can see. We have our title, we have our paragraph, we have this div that contains our menus, right? And yeah, I think we can kickstart from there. And then in the CSS file, we have this selector. Can someone tells me what it means, like when you use this star as a selector? What does it mean? Anyone?
Please, the question again. I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I'm asking, can you all see my screen? I'm currently in VS Code.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I was asking this star, right? When we use it as a selector, when we were introducing you guys to CSS, we saw that selectors are used to actually tag certain elements, certain HTML elements, right? This is a selector, this is a selector, this is a selector, right? So this star selector, when we use it, what does it mean? I bet the previous facilitator explained it. All right, so it means all, right?
Okay.
Everything inside our HTML, our HTML document, our HTML page, right? So we are selecting everything that is inside, and we reset the margin to 0. We reset the padding to 0. Admit. And the box sizing, we set it towards to border box. I guess the previous facilitator explained all of this. Let's move for today. Like, let's see what we are going to do today, right? So here we select our links. Here you can see we have our links here, right? And we set its text decoration to none. Basically, if I comment this, let me run my project. Sorry. Right, if I comment that, you can see, let me show you, let me go back, let me comment everything. I go back, you can see we have a margin here. You all already know what is a margin, what's the difference between a margin and what, and a padding, right? So when I comment everything, every styling that was already in our CSS file, you can see we already have some margin. Okay, so this first section of the HTML, the CSS code, what we are basically trying to do, excuse me, I have to do this and comment and comment everything now. So we are selecting everything inside our document, setting its margin to 0, its padding to 0, and its box sizing, we are setting it to border box. Here's, you can see the margin is no longer there, right? So let's uncomment this. So what's the text decoration basically does? It's actually either underline the text, either put it in I don't know how you call it. It's like I think a strike, but basically what a text decoration is, it adds some under I have to admit someone. Give me a sec. Great. So I will unselect this and comment it, sorry. And if we go back in our browser, you can see the text. Oh God, admit. Great. You can see our links are no longer underlined. So what we did was to say text decoration, we set it to none, meaning that we don't need text decoration to that. If we put line through, you can see the outcome, right? And by default, it's always to underline. This is the style by default. But for now, for the sake of our design, you can see there is nothing, there is no styling on our menu. So we are going to put none, Control S, go back, nothing is selected. That's perfect. So next step, let's uncomment this as well. Here, what we are basically saying is we are selecting our LI, these ones, okay, and we are putting what style type. I have to admit. Great. So the property is list style, and we are setting it to what? To none. So basically what a list style does, it adds those bullet points we were seeing previously. So for now, if I go back here, let me add a margin to, let's say, 30. Let me comment this, go back, let me say 100, comment this. Okay, it's not taking, let's set it to 0. Let's comment this. Great. You can see the bullet points, right? They're appearing in black. So what this line is normally supposed to do is to what? To remove those what? Those bullet points. Okay. List style what? None. But you can go and do research and see how you can actually insert a personalized bullet point. You can put those square ones. You can even put an image instead of those bullet points. You can put your own image as a what? As a bullet point, right? So we are not going to actually touch that, but we are going to do what? To work you through how we can implement this landing page here. So let me uncomment this back. Great. So the next step is to, if we see our design, we are going to do what? As you can see our menu, how they are aligned. Our menus, the way they are aligned, this is the next, what's the next step, right? So to do so, give me a second. Great. I hope in the last session, you guys learned about give me a minute. Great. Let's continue. So pretty sure that in the previous lesson you guys learned about Flexbox, or even if it's not in the previous session, I hope you guys did some research because it was among the topics that we were supposed to cover in the previous sessions. So I hope you learned about Flexbox and grid, the grid system. So we are going just to use a few of those notions that we had in the previous sessions on or during our research. So we are going to use a few of them to actually design and have this look here, right? So I am going to select this specific navigation bar here, right? This navigation bar is the only element that is in my web page for now. Not in my web page, but it's the only, let me call it, tag. We don't have another nav tag in my HTML document. So select that. I don't actually need to add a class. I actually don't need to add a class since I only have one nav tag in the entire HTML document, right? So I can go in here and do what? And do nav. I hope we all agree that I'm good with it. So we are going to do display and do what? Flex. So what's the display
I don't know
flex?
if it's only hello, because we can't
Hello.
see your. Okay, so I couldn't see the new quote you were writing. That's like, yeah, okay, thank you.
Can you see it right now?
Yeah, no, it's appeared.
Okay. All right. So let's move. So I'm going to do nav selecting this navigation here, and do what? And do display flex. Let me move. As you can see, my items are now what? Are taking another let me call it layout, right? They're aligned differently. Previously, let me comment this. You can see the way these elements are aligned. So we have our, let's call it logo for now, even though it's just a text. We have our logo, and we have also what we have our menus, sorry, right? So we are going to change the way those elements are displayed. We'll use the property display and do what? Flex. And here we are. So what we are trying to implement is basically this one, right? As you can see, we already have that layout, but we just have to play again with what? With our menus, these elements here, right? So to do so, we are going to enter our LU, our UL, sorry. One is trying to join. Okay. Oh, la, la. So next time, I guess it will be better. I think we have your email address, so we'll send an invite, a Google Meet invite. Kindly accept it so that I don't have to be granting access to you all during the sessions. So I think tomorrow you all will receive an invite, and kindly accept it so that we don't have to be granting you access all the time. Great. So I'm going to go inside my UL. I'm going to select my UL. Let me give it a class, since we'll probably have another UL somewhere in our document. Let me call it navlinks. Let me select my navlinks. Please, if you don't understand, don't hesitate to stop me and ask question, right? So I'm going to do again display flex, because my menus here, I'm trying to align them vertically, right? Is it vertically or horizontally? Yeah, I'm going to align them. Sorry, give me a second. I have a call. Okay, so as I was trying to explain, we are currently working on displaying these menus horizontally, right? So I'm going to display what? Display flex again. If I go back in my browser, you can see all my menus are now aligned how? Horizontally, right? But we have a problem. There is no space between what? Between our menus, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a property to actually give a little bit of
Mm,
space between what?
Hello, sir.
Hello,
Can I see what you did in the index? Not on the browser. Index page first.
index.
Yes.
Okay, I only add a
Okay.
class to my UL, my unordered list.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Great. You're welcome. So what I'm going to do basically is to do what? To add space between what? Between my menus, right? And the way to do that, we can either use a property called align items, and we do what? We do space between, right? If we go back, this won't work. Okay, it's not align items. Actually, it should be justify contents. Let me see. Okay, let's add a gap between the elements and say 20 pixels.
Yeah, please, can you go back to the HTML? Let me check something, please. All right.
Are you good?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I've added a gap between what? Between my elements here. So it will basically add a gap between the children of this parent, which is here in our case an ordered list. And I added a class and gave it a name of what? Navlink. So adding a gap to this parent will basically add will technically add a gap between the children of what? Of that parent. This is what we are currently seeing inside our what? Inside our browser. Okay, we can now see this beautiful spacing in between our menus. Okay, so another problem is here. You can see our logo, one loop, and our menus, right? There is a need to a need for what? A need for space. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we can see that we have our navbar, which is the parent, right? And this navbar has two children. We have our paragraph, which is considered as our logo, and we have our other, basically our div, which is here, which actually contains what? Our UL or our menus. So we have navbar with two children, the paragraph and this div. But for now, this div, let it be there, but we are not currently using it for a reason. We'll see later why we are not using it, right? So as you can see, we need a space in between our logo, which is basically a paragraph, and what? And our menus. So to do that, to achieve that, let me go back in our nav. Okay, let's say justify content space between, space between. So what's basically this line does, it actually adds what? It aligns the elements along what? The main axis of the what? Of the parent, which in our case the parent is what? Is our navbar, right? So after adding this line, you can see now we have a very big spacing, a very beautiful spacing between what? Between our logo and our menus, right? So if we go back and see the design, you can see that we are getting something similar, something closer to what we have on our design. Okay, so what I'm going to do, as you can see, we need some space, right? We need out space, right? Outside. I guess you guys already know what property we are going to use. So we want to give some space between these elements and the outside box, the outside of the box, I mean, right? So we are going to use okay, let's select our body right down here. Let's select our body, and we are going to add a margin, I guess. A margin of what? A margin of let's say 100 pixels. If we go back, you can see, okay, that's too much. Let's say 50. Great. You can see 50 still too much. Let's say 30. Great. Now you can see we have this space here. that I've added to what, to the entire body. So we'll have a margin of 30 pixels on the right, 30 pixel on the top, right, and what, and bottom, right? So left, top, right, and bottom, we all have what, a margin of 30 pixels, right? So next step, as you can see, we are getting there. We are getting there. So let me just remove this space here. One loop, everything is small cap. Great. We have a one loop there. Okay. So next step would be to do what? Okay, let's center. You can see all of the elements are kind of centered in the middle, right? We have an even space from the left, on the left and on the right from this design, right? So let's add another property inside our nav. Okay, let's say we want to align items to the center. Nothing actually changes. Let me see, background color, let me say black. I'm coming, huh? I have to check. Okay. Okay. All right. See why it's not working. We'll see it later on. Great. So the next step will be what? The next step will be to add. So who has a question before we move forward? If you have a question, please ask it before we move. No question? Is that a good sign or a bad one? Great. Let's move. So the next step will be to basically add what? To add our, you can see we have a beautiful background image, right? So that's what we are going to what? To add. Great. Let's add. So we are now done, almost done. We'll do other styling later. As you can see, we have our logo is in white, our menus are in white, but for now we still have what, a background of, like, our body is still in white. So if we add a white here, we kind of fade, so we won't be able to see it. For now, let's add a background image and see what it gives. So to do so, let me go back in HTML, right? So this header, let's say we are done with it for now. Let me collapse it. And the next session is our main. So that's what we'll be calling a hero section. Sorry. That's basically this part here. Hope we can see it.
Please,
Okay,
can you
go
please
on.
go back style.css for me to check something?
Have you checked?
Yes, please. You can move on.
All right. Great. So let's design this hero section. We are going to start with the background image. We're going to add that beautiful image on the background. So let's go back HTML. So we are going to write everything inside inside our our main section. So I'll give it a class of okay, let me just call it hero. Okay, so inside the hero section, I'm going to add a div that will basically contain our content here, right? So inside that div, I will add an h1. Okay, and inside the h1, as you can see, we have this beautiful title here: one loop logistics in an international freight forwarding specialist, right? So you can see we have this one loop which is in yellow and the remaining text in white. Okay, so I'm going to add inside my title. So my heading is everything here. Let me do this and select everything. This is my heading, and inside my heading we can see we have two types of colors, the yellow one and the white one. So to actually separate that, I'm going to use one inline element. When I say inline, I hope you guys are getting it right. So I'm going to add a span element inside my heading and write what one loop. Okay, and now add the remaining words outside the span. I'm now going to add what the remaining text: logistics in an international logistics in an international. Someone is trying to join or ask a question. I don't know. Okay, cool. Logistics in an international freight forwarding specialist. Freight forwarding specialists. Okay, as you can see, our heading is already there. So let's see the design. You can see that in the same section here, we do have let's call it subtitle. Okay, so we are going to add a paragraph. Sorry, we are going to add a paragraph just below our heading and say what we are dedicated for the marine industry since 2017 and is headquartered in Singapore. We are dedicated for the marine industry since I guess 2017 and is headquartered in what? In Singapore. In Singapore. Great. Now we have this heading, we have what? We have this subtitle as well. So I'm going to add a little, I think, space here. Great. So we have our section. Now let's add a background image. Let's style.
I think, hello, sir.
Uh,
I think we missed the since 2017 at the top of the one loop logistics.
okay, let's add it. It's just a paragraph. Let's add it here. Let's say paragraph since what? Since 2017. So if we see, we now have our section displaying in our browser. Are we all good?
But can we also use an H,
Yes, you can
like an
use,
H4? Okay.
yeah, you can use an H4, you can use a span, you can use yeah, basically you can use a paragraph, you can use anything you want, but other than an inappropriate tag. Great. So I'm going to add a class since we already have a lot of divs, or we will have a lot of divs inside our document. Let me add a class to this specific div. Let me say let me call it what? Hero content. Right. So we basically have our section here, and let's actually let me call it section instead of many. Section instead of main, but basically section, main, div, they are all containers. They don't have a specific like you can't use it for any specific use case, right? You can use it just to wrap your elements. Instead of a section here, I could even use a div. So it will be a div inside another div. But let me use a section. But we could also use a main. They are serving us as what? As wrappers, as containers. Okay. So let me just use section here. So we have it already here. So let's style it. Let's give it some styling. So I will start with the main wrapper, the section here. I select this hero. I will go just below and do what? Hero, and start giving it some styling, right? So the first thing we are going to do is to add this background image. Okay, we have a background image. I hope we can all see it. And in our project folder, we've created a subfolder called what? Images. And we have this beautiful image inside. Great. So let me close this and do what? Select my hero section, which is my main wrapper. Okay. And do what? And do background image. Okay. We are going to use URL to select what? Path of what? The path where our image is located, right? So we are going to enter our folder images folder, and then select that specific image, which is ship dash image dot jpg, right? So if we go back here, you can see there is already an image, but we can't see it because of what? Because of the size of our section, right? We are yet to provide a specific size to our section, right? But you can already see the image. You can already see the background image being set on our section. Okay, now let's go and add a specific size to our section. Let's say we want to give it a height of let's say, okay, let me say 500 pixel. So if we come here, you can see we're already seeing our image. Okay, so let's see the design, how it looks. Okay, you can see it's not that big, right? So how many pixels can this be? Let's say 200. I think we are good. Yeah, I think we are good to go. We are good to go. Great. So what I'm going to add is basically, let me use another property. As you can see, the images, we are not seeing it well. Okay, so let me add another property. I'll explain what it does. Background size, I think, yes, it's size, let's say cover. Okay, so if we go back, you can see we can see the image a little bit better, right? Are we together?
Yes, please.
Great. So we can see the image a little bit better, right? So let's add another property. I think it's a background. Yeah, it should be position, I guess. Background position, let's say center. Great. Now you can see how good our image is now seen. Okay, so we have that beautiful image, we have our text on top of it, and yeah, you can see we have our section coming out as specified on what on our design on our landing page. Okay, so let's add what can we add next? So seeing the design, you can see the text is kind of centered. We have a little bit of padding, right? So let's add that specific style. So we need to center this text. We need to add a little bit of padding, right? So let's select that hero section, which is our wrapper. In our case, it's a section. Remember, I said you can use it as section, a div, a main. They will all save what this for the same use case or same purpose, right? So let's select this and do what, and center everything that is inside. Okay, let's do text align center, right? Let's do text align center. If we go back, you can see it. Do you have any question?
No,
Yeah.
you can go ahead.
All right, all right. So if we say center, you can see how centered the text is, but it's not the same as our design. So I'll just remove this, okay, or comment it. Our text is centered, is actually aligned on left, which is pretty much what we basically need, I guess. So what I'm going to add is a padding, okay, padding of what? Let me start with padding left, okay, of let me take 50 pixels and see what it gives. Okay, that's good, but 50 pixels is, let me add it. Great. Now you can see what you can see, this beautiful margin, I mean padding that we have here. So if we go back our design, you can see it's a little bit bigger, and what and what and what. Yeah, we have another space here. So it will be basically margin left, padding, padding left, top. Yeah, let's just add that. So padding left, let's add padding top as well. Let's set it to 100 pixels as well. Great. Awesome. So this one will be, let's say, 150. Cool. Right? Are we together? In French, we say yes, qu'on est ensemble. Great. So next step, we can see, let's change this to what? To white. Let's give this a color, a yellow color, and everything else what? Let's set it to white. So I'll go back my HTML. You can see we have a paragraph here. We have our heading. We have what? We have another paragraph. So I will basically select. Okay, we can actually add a color immediately on our container, so it will give a white color on all the children inside that container. So I will basically add a color and set it to white, right? Oh, I'm confused a little bit, so we will add white. It's because I don't have a oh, what am I doing? Great. So you can see for the colors, you can either use the name of the color or use what we call the hexadecimal words code, or you can use another format which is the RGB, right? But for now, let's keep it simple by using the color name. As you can see, everything has a white color, but we still have our one loop here to have a color of what? I guess it's yellow. Yes, it's yellow, right? So let's do it. Let's go back. We can see we have inside our hero content. Let's select our heading, the heading that is inside our hero content, and let's select the span, which is the child of our heading. Okay, so to do so, I will use another type of selector. So I will enter first my hero content here, which is a class. We already know how to select a class, how to target a class. So dot hero content. Inside our hero content, kindly find a H2, a heading. Is it H1 or H2? H1, right? So, and inside the H1, please select a span element. And then inside, take specific span. So here we are targeting this span, right? Everything here is just helping just a matter of precision, right? We are trying to be a little bit specific, right? But we could even say, take every span that you find in the HTML document and assign it this specific color. But guess what? We might have many span tags inside our document. That's why we are trying to be a little bit specific by saying what? By saying go inside our hero content, find a heading with the first level, and then select the span that is inside this H1, and then give it a color of what? Of yellow. Okay, Now let's save and go back. As you can see, we have our one loop with what? With the white yellow color. Okay, so let me add the font size of this text, this specific text. Okay, so I will select, I'll come right here and say go into hero section, hero content, right? Select H1, give it a font size of what? A font size of, let's say, 40 pixels. Let's see what it gives. Great. Now you can see we are somehow getting closer towards to what the design says. Okay, forgive. I see you have your hand raised.
Yes, sir. Yeah, please. The H1 in the text has a
Okay,
break, or it has various breaks, but we haven't seen that reflecting in our design.
it has. Okay, I see what your. Okay, we can add it. Let's go and do it. So we have a first break here and the second one here, right? So to add it, what are we going to do? Who can tell us what to do? Cleanup.
Yeah, you can add here. Go to the index.html.
Okay.
We can do it in the index.html.
Yeah, I'm there already.
Okay, so is it the text? Is it an or end? Okay, and the back of the and you will bring the text back and you add br. You open greater than br and you close it.
Okay.
You will close it. Okay.
How?
Okay. Okay. Then bring the text back. No, not. You won't add hash. You won't add slash. Only be greater than br and you will close it. You won't add slash to it.
Okay. Let's see what it gives. Great. Another break. Where can we add it? Here is the design. I guess it's simple. Let me just copy this and do what? Forwarding. Where is forwarding? Forwarding is here. Paste it here. And here we go. Thank you, Clenam, and forgive. So yeah, as you can see, we are getting closer to what? To our design. This should be orange instead of yellow, I guess. Anyway, so
Yeah, so please, the next sentence after the one loop logistics to has a break. The next text.
okay, so after is, right? After is here. Great. So let's add, as you can see, if we go back in our design, you can see there is a space here. There is another space just down here. Plenum,
Okay,
can
sir.
see.
The one loop, the header, the background didn't cover the header, and after the header, we have some underline. We didn't do that one too.
Afterwards,
The one loop, the background image didn't cover the one loop.
the background image.
Yeah, the one we are doing, it didn't cover. The one loop is on top of the background image.
Okay,
And
okay. We'll
after
work.
the one loop, we have some underline.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
place
Sure, sure,
line.
sure, sure, sure. We will work on that. We'll work on that. We'll see how we can push the our image on the top, right? That's what you wanted to ask.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, all right. Well noted. So we'll do it. We'll do it. Let's just add some space here between the since 2017 and this, and between this heading and the paragraph. So to do so, I can just take this heading and add a margin top and a margin bottom. So the heading is basically this one. Let's say we want to add a margin bottom of 20 pixels, and margin top of the same. Yeah, now you can see we have, let's even add, oops, great. Great, 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 great. Now you can see we have this margin here and margin on the left. But if we look at the design, we don't basically need those margins, right? So let's get rid of it by doing what? I guess you all know where we added that specific margin. So we added it here on the body, right? So let's comment this out. As you can see, we've actually removed that specific margin, but still need some spacing. We still need some spacing, like we need some spacing on our elements here, our navigation bar, right? So we'll basically delete this because we don't need it for now, but we'll select our container here, which is our nav. Actually, let's select the header. Okay, let's do header here dot let's select header. Let's add a padding of what? Let's add a padding of let's say padding 20 pixels. Is that enough? Let's see. 20 pixels. Okay, right. So what have just done is basically adding a spacing. So when we use two values on the padding, this is basically to say take padding, right, and add a value of 20 pixel. I guess it's on the left, on the left and top, right? No, on the left. And so the first value, the 20 here, is actually on the top and bottom, right? And this 60 pixels will actually be the value on the right, left and right. Okay, that's how. But you can also go and use use it one by one, like saying margin top, you say 20 pixel. So we have now to remove this margin bottom, bottom 20 pixel, 20 pixels, margin top, should be padding, right? Padding, right. Let's say 60 pixels. padding left 60 pixels as well. Okay, you can see the result is the same thing, right? But instead of writing all these 4 lines of code, you could actually make it short by doing what? Just typing padding and then take 20 pixels on the top and bottom, and take 60 pixels on what? Right and left. Okay, so you can see the result is still what? Still the same. Okay, now Krenam, to answer your question, you asked a question about why the image is not covering this one loop and all the menu, as you can see it on our design. So let's try to do it. So we are going to select this section. It's our hero basically. So let me see, index. It's our hero, right? So our hero here, we want it to cover this white space, like to stick on on the top of the page, the screen, right? So we'll add a negative margin to it, right? So we'll select the hero and do what? And do margin top, right? And let's say negative let's say 50 pixels. If we go back, you can see 50 pixels still, let's say 60. Great. Now let's change the color of this one loop and the color of our menus. So one loop is basically, okay, let's add a class to it, or an ID. Okay, let's use an ID and say ID logo, right? And next, what? Next. Great. So let's select our logo right here. Let's say logo, right? Let's give it a color of white. I think I've mentioned that you can either use the color name or use this format. So 6, right? This is the code for white color, 6 times F. Or you can even shorten it by using 3 times F. Basically the same thing. So yeah, our logo is now white. Let's give it a font weight, bolder or bold. Let's give it bolder. Great. Now let's give it size. Let's add its font size. To what? To, let's say, 30 pixels. Nope. 20. All right, guys. So as you can see, we already have, like, we are getting closer towards the design that we have here. Okay. So what's next is what can we do next? We already have our, so here let's add 5 again here. Great. Our logo one loop is already there. Let's change the color of our menu.
Please, can I see your CSS code for a minute?
Okay.
Can you go up for me a bit?
Up.
All right. Thank you.
All right. So basically, we have nav links here. Great. So let's target nav links here. Let's change its color to what? To FFF. Okay, it doesn't work. That means we have to select .nav links and take all the links inside and cut this, come and paste it here. All right, that should work. Let's see our design. Okay, let's say font size is let's say 13 pixels. Let's see what it gives. Yeah, not so bad, but let's be generous, add one more pixel. Great. Question before we move forward. Est-ce que on est ensemble? Are we together?
Yeah, let me see your code from it. Thank you. The
All right.
styling.
The styling. Here you are.
Okay. Can you go to the HTML too for me?
Here you are.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Can we move on? I guess that's a yes. So what we basically did, as you can see, we are getting closer, but we still have some a few things to actually work on. As you can see here, the font is not the same with what we have. We can basically add that together and see what it gives. Let's Google it together. Add fonts to HTML, or let's do Google Fonts. Google Fonts, right? Let's browse it. Let's select Roboto, for example. And after selecting Roboto, let's add, let's select, let's do get fonts, get embed, right? And okay, import. Okay, let's just do this. Let's copy, go inside our HTML down here. No, let's do it here. Let's paste, Control S. Let's go back here and do everything. Take a font size of what? A font family of Roboto. Let's see if something has changed. Right. You can see our font has basically changed. Can you all see that? Can we see it or not? Great. So we can basically see that now we have a Roboto font. Okay. And I hope you all saw how I did it. So this one will only work if you have internet, right? But if you are working offline, if you don't have internet, this one won't work. So the route to take if you don't have internet, don't take this embedded code. Download this file rather, okay? But you can go and do research. You are going to download this and create another folder inside your project and name it let's say assets. Okay, inside there you can now paste the code you just downloaded. But for now, let's go the easy way. Okay, so I'm a big fan of Poppins, so let's see how I can use Poppins instead of Roboto. Just one more so that you all can see how fonts. Let's Poppins like this. Great. What's going on? Get fonts, get embed code, copy this, go and in my here, paste it here. Hold on. Yeah. So copy this, Control C, come and paste it here, Control V, Control S. It's basically almost the same font. So what I'm going to do is to just add great, guys. Any question? You can see we are getting closer to what we have here. So hold on. You can see that since 2017 is actually everything is let me see, since where is it? Great. Where is the since? Great, this one. So let's add it, let's give it a class. Let's say class okay, hero subtitle. Let me select the hero subtitle, CSS, come here, dot hero subtitle. Let's say text transform, right? So that will basically, as you can see for now, this has like small cap, it's in small cap, right? So we are going to do text transform and say upper case, so everything is right, is in uppercase. So let's reduce its size. Let's say font size to basically, let's say 13 pixels. Great. And reduce the margin bottom here to 20. So great. Are we all good?
Yeah, just that you're transitioning between your code and the browser is quite swift, so I'm not able to get the.
Okay. Finally, let me know when you're okay so that we can see the way forward. But I think looking at the time, I think you're going to stop from there. But next week we probably start JavaScript. So I'd really advise that we practice CSS and HTML a lot. Because if we don't understand these basics, it will be kind of difficult to even understand JavaScript since everything is linked. So if you don't get HTML very well, it will be kind of tricky to, even targeting elements when you want to add some interactivities between your elements, right? So let's make sure we are practicing. And by the way, I guess you guys know that if you have any issues, any challenges you're facing, please don't hesitate to contact any of the facilitators. It can be me, either me or any other facilitator, right? So let's keep on practicing. I guess you all have seen how we worked on this design together. So next time, make sure you can design something on your own and see if all the concepts are well understood. So yeah, I think we should even, okay, let's even start this one in the, let's say 5 minutes. Let's see what we can do. Let's start this section. Okay, I'm going back in my HTML. So I will add another section, right? I will add another section. Okay, and give it a div class service. Let me add this. Let me call it service section. Service section, right? And inside here, I'm going to add a title. Someone has a question. Godwin?
Yes. So I think with the other one, we are left with the underlining and then those dots at the down there.
Yeah, we'll see that maybe next time. So it's just
Okay.
yeah, we'll see it next time. But just to make sure, let's see. We can add it here. Let's say a horizontal line, a horizontal. I guess it's this one. Let me see. No, it's not. Should be a horizontal. I've forgotten that tag. Let me see, styler, color, white. It's not this tag. We'll see it later. Let's just jump on the service and do the. So I'll add a heading.
Okay.
Let me see. Okay, heading. Let me add a H2 or 3, right, and call it our service. Our services. Oh, I don't know, whatever. Let's add another paragraph. Let's say, I wish I could copy. Diversified services for your convenience. Services for your convenience. For your convenience. Wow, is that English? Great. So if we come back, we can already see what is inside there. So let's jump right into the design. Let's see section. Let's select this section. Services, service section. So as you can see, the code is getting longer. So don't hesitate to do what? To comment your code, right? This is where the service section starts, right? And then you just comment it out, right? Control C, I can copy it there. So just to make sure your code is more readable, right? Just add anything to, So let me select this service section. Same thing in CSS, right? You can do what? Here is where the styling, the service section styling starts, right? You can do that way and comment it out, right? And do now. Okay, let me copy this section, go back and do what? Color, background color, rather background color. Let me do something here. Let me do blue color shades code. Okay, you just pick anything. Okay, let me copy this, right? And come here, come back and paste it here. Control S, come back. As you can see, I have the color there. And let me add the height of okay, let me say 200 pixels or 300, 400. Right. And what's next? Color to white. Okay, great. Let's add a padding of what? A padding of let's say padding right and left be set to, let's say, for it to be aligned with this. We can add the same padding we added here somewhere. Where is it? In our hero, we added a padding left 150 pixels and 50 pixels maybe. Okay, I think it's now 50 here, 150, like this. Great. Now you can see this one. Let me go back. You can see this paragraph here has what? Has a kind of another shade of white. So it will be, let me select the services. Let me select the paragraph that is inside the services and do what? And do color. Okay, let's say Alice blue. No. Gray. Can gray work? Neither. Okay, let me do white. Color shades. Of white. Control C. Let me see. C. What does it give? Anyway, that's a topic for another day. But for now, let's just do font size. Let's say 14 pixel. Great, guys. I think we are running out of time. Clenham has a question. Please go on.
Oh, the color that you are like, I'm sure is white, but they add opacity to it to make it blur.
To change it to what?
Our service, under our service, the color, I'm sure they added, it's white color, but they added opacity to it to make it blur.
All right. So let's do 13 pixels. Let's say white, opacity of 0.5. Let's see. Great. Thanks, Clenham. So you can see everything is already available for you. It's just to find like that's how you combine everything to make the design look the way you want it to look, right? So just play around, do research, more research, practice, see what it gives, and then work on like real world projects. Find a website online, try to clone it, design it, try to do the way the guys, the designers behind it actually did it. And it's by practicing that you'll get good in this web development journey. So I think we are done for today. Thank you all for your time, your attention, your participation, and hopefully we are going to meet again next I think Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. So if you need this code, I can give it to you. If you're not okay, just I don't know what you can. Yeah, I will tell Courtney to actually share the code with you so that you can be good next time. But keep on practicing, and yeah, for all of that and more, I will see you on Tuesday. Have a nice evening or night.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Can
Welcome.
we see your code for last before you go?
You say?
Can we see the code for last before you leave?
The code
HTML.
HTML. Okay. Which part exactly? Like which
The
section?
bottom. The
The bottom.
Yeah.
This one.
Yes, please. Okay, thank you.
All right, guys. See you on Tuesday. Have a nice night.
Yeah, same.
Okay, thank you.
Good night. Good night.